Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of Cuzzo and the Commish. As always, I am Ryan Cuzzo Elias. Joining me is Brendan, the Commish Ricciardi. One day after a good night for the Phillies. What's going on, Brendan?
Yeah, good night for the Phils. Not a good start for the Commish. It just feels right on this show when Cuzzo's 3-0 and the Commish is 0-3. It's just, it feels like everything's just like in balance here. But yeah, no, it's good to see the Phils back in the playoffs, second consecutive year, and hopefully they give us the night game. So Chris, Cuzzo, Ari, and myself can make it out to game 1 on Tuesday.
Absolutely, but knowing the MLB, we'll get the 12 o'clock on a Tuesday as the biggest market in the wild card. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. We had a pretty good week of fantasy football. We still have 3 teams that are 3-0, correct?
I think it's just you and Drew at this point, and you guys are playing each other. Yeah, I think it's just you and Drew, and you're playing each other.
Oh, Jesus.
Game of the week coming. So we'll only have one. Usually we have an undefeated team longer than this, but at this, unless you guys tie, we'll have only one left.
Could you imagine that? That would be insufferable.
I mean, we've had ties in this league. I remember one of my favorite stories is actually when I had a concussion my sophomore year, and so I couldn't look in screens and stuff, but I was listening to the Monday Night Football game on the radio, and I was trying to, which was a bad idea, in my head. Hellman had DeMarco Murray, and I was trying to keep track of how many points DeMarco Murray had in my head, and I thought that I won. And then I asked my mom at midnight to check the score. She's like, "You guys both have 126." I'm like, "Holy shit, we just tied."
Oh man, I would rather lose than tie in most scenarios, but I guess that's just me. But anyway, we got a great slate of games to go into recapping here. It was a pretty good week for myself, I must say, and pretty good week for the 2 front runners in the Bureau. Drew just keeps on putting up 150 plus points, which is pretty crazy, but we're gonna break that down right now here on the Primetime Weekly Recap.
Yeah, let me pull up the screen share here. Also, real quick, while I get that loading, we can talk about the waiver wire. So Carter replaced Mike Williams with Josh Palmer. I want to give a quick shout out to Snyder for being a moron, because Snyder said that he lost the bid by $3 when Carter bid $150 or $353, and whatever it was in Hellman or whatever it was, Snyder lost by 23. I think Snyder bid $330 and Carter bid $353. He's like, "Damn, I lost by 3." I'm like, "No, you lost by 23." It's just classic brain damaged Hellman or fucking Snyder at this point.
Hellman.
No, Hellman's got the clearest brain out of anybody in this league.
Probably.
And he just won the butthole with that. All right, let's get some music going in the background.
Yeah. What's this one called?
Daydreaming.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to start things off with our butthole clencher of the week. It was the Columbus Copperheads taking down the Collegeville Cashflow Kings. Final score of 132.68 to 127.76. Ari in the comments says Fat L. Leading the way for the Copperheads, it was Zach Moss, the Indianapolis running back, with Jonathan Taylor still sitting out there. 22.5 points. Big game for the Copperheads there and leading them to the win. Hey, you get 130 points, you have a pretty good chance of winning in this league. That's pretty good there. Jalen Hurts with a pretty good game. Those picks kind of hurt him, but 21 points out of him. And 19 points from Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift in attendance. Good game for the Copperheads there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's impressive that Hellman's 2-1, given, it's going to sound kind of harsh. He doesn't really have many stars on his team. He's got Travis Kelce, who obviously missed week 1. He's got Jalen Hurts, but, they're not playing, superstars. They're good, but they're not playing, the people that were going to carry the team, which is kind of what he needed. Zach Moss has been very good. It sucks that Jonathan Taylor's not playing, but he's getting that same production. And the way Hellman's going to win is if you're not going to have stars, you need everybody to just do their part. And that's what it was this week.
Absolutely. A lot of guys doing their part, and Hellman knows where the F-35 is.
That's absolutely right. All right, Ari, if you want to drop a comment about how you felt about your team's performance, feel free to. But it was a lot of good and a lot of bad because Kenneth Walker had 30, JJ had 27, Amari Cooper had 24, but AJ Dillon only had 3. 3 from his kicker, 6 from his IDP. Defense wins Clancy Bowls. Not this week, unfortunately. Ari got some heat for starting AJ Dillon over James Conner to begin with. So, obviously that one didn't work out in his favor. But at the end of the day, 127. I don't think there's anything to be too upset about. Aaron Jones is potentially going to play on Thursday, so that's still kind of up in the air. I think Ari should feel okay, but you have to somewhat wonder if he's starting to regret the Josh Allen trade solely. Obviously, people didn't know how bad Burrow's injury was. I get it, but the fact that he went from Allen to Burrow and all he got was Lockett, who he doesn't start. I'm just not sure what the mentality was. And hey, listen, I respect Ari for taking ownership from this one. He said the team did the job, the GM screwed the dub, and that's kind of Delco's model over here in hell where the Devils play. So I feel you, brother.
Absolutely, a lot of good, a lot of bad there. This is a team that can bounce back if Joe Burrow can bounce back. If not, he's going to have to look elsewhere for quarterback play, much like the New York Jets should. Final score there was 132.68 to 127.76.
All right. I believe we actually predicted this one to be the butthole blowout of the week on the last show. Not that it was really much of breaking some new ground there, Copernicus, but the IRS handled the Sun 154.38 to 98.84. Start off your 30 points for Tyreek Hill. Honestly, he probably should have gone second overall, and that's not a shot at Jamar Chase. That's just the fact that he is an absolute, I'm completely blanking on the word here. It's like I'm using a video game. Cheat code. Cheat code is what I wanted to say. 30.7, 25.68 from Kirk Cousins, 27.5. I don't know who the hell Terrell Bernard is, a linebacker for the Bills, but 27.5 from him. It's actually really impressive that Drew scored 154 points with his running backs combining in the running back position, not the flex. The running back specifically combining for 16.2. This is a very well-rounded group.
Absolutely. And you talk about Bernard, that's just one of those scrappy IRS guys that you constantly see him with. Sometimes it works out for a big year. As we saw, he won the championship 2 years ago. Sometimes it doesn't. Not as good of a result last year, but that's an IRS guy. And that's one of the guys that he likes to pick up, and it really worked out for him this week. Big win over the Sun.
Yeah, let's talk about the Sun here because the Sun is starting to set early this season. We got 15.44 from Gino, 21.1 from Amon-Ra St. Brown. But man, this is a putrid group. Like I said in the power rankings when I wrote them out. Also, if you haven't read them yet, go do that.
Yeah, I agree with my position in the power rankings. By the way, we can get into that a little bit more later. Now.
Yeah. So Garrett Wilson, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because Zach Wilson's terrible, and that's not his fault. He thought he was getting Rodgers' guy. That's forgivable. But Breece Hall 3.7, Javonte Williams 8.5. Snyder, it probably wasn't the best idea to base your team around 2 running backs coming off of a torn ACL. Just an idea. Najee Harris is slower than both of them. So say what you want, but I don't know. He seems to be higher on his group than anybody else.
Yeah, it still baffles me that this is, even a combination that could have been conceived in the furthest depths of hell. But somehow it is, and we're stuck with seeing it and talking about it all year, unfortunately. That's all I have to say there.
Yeah, it's funny. In our 10 Clancy Bowls, I don't believe we've ever had like a rematch, of a different Clancy Bowl. We might have a Ridley Bowl rematch this year if things don't turn around in Delco. I feel we'll get to my team a little. I feel better than the record shows. Snyder does too, so maybe we're in the same boat here. But there's really not much else to talk about except Drew was 1 in the power rankings, Snyder's 12. That's really what it's about at the end of the day. But with that being said, we have someone that is number 3 in the power rankings waiting in the wings here. So let's bring on one, Dr. Z, Carter Krause with a nice back-to-back banner, well-deserved. Carter, welcome to the show. How are you doing? I believe you're muted, Carter. Hang on, me.
My fault. Doing
There you
good.
go. You're all good. What's up, buddy?
Doing good. The fellas had a good week this week. Can't complain. Vibes are high. Zoo's riding high, and we're doing good. So the
Ari is very excited. Yeah, Ari is
180 points is just a crappening.
Yeah, everyone showed up. On all cylinders. It was a offense, defense, special teams. We had a good week. So that's what you love to see.
Yeah, Carter, coming off a Kosher Kush Conference championship. Like I said.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Coming off a Kosher Kush Conference championship, Carter, I would say the first 2 weeks probably weren't up to your own standards. Obviously, it was, you beat me in week 1, but we both didn't have very good weeks. Hey, look at what is No UY? Who are you even playing, Carter?
Who is this?
I'm playing Canawa this week, I think.
All right, well, I guess that's Jacob. I did not I don't know why it said that. Yes,
Agents of the Lake Effect.
Yeah, and Ari said the same thing. So Carter, 180 points. Justin Herbert, 29. Jamar Chase, 26. Mike Williams, RIP, 25. I will say, Carter, at least you don't have to make lineup decisions with Mike Williams anymore.
Yeah, I know. He was finally getting on my good side, though. It's sad. He had to have a good game, and it sold him his ACL. So I guess that's the price to pay to actually finally have a good game when I start you. So it's tough, but it was cool to see him catch a touchdown from Keenan Allen. So it was nice, but then it was.
Jacob has his burner YouTube account. Carter, talk about you've gotten some heat for taking Jamar Chase. Obviously, a little hindsight bias there, but talk about his performance this week and what you were excited to see going forward.
Yeah, obviously before the season, we all knew that Joe Burrow had that calf injury. Obviously, it seems to be a little bit more serious than I had anticipated. Jamar Chase luckily made me look less of an idiot for taking him before Tyreek Hill this week. I expected to keep trending in this direction. They got a crappy Tennessee defense this week. I think he should do more of the same. I'm still remaining optimistic, but obviously you can't deny what Tyreek Hill's doing. He is, like you said, a cheat code. So it's it's looking good. I'm hoping they can just keep that connection going and he can just show up as my first round pick and me too where I want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great looking team you got here. Putting up scores like that, it's definitely going to launch you to somewhere near the top of whatever rankings we could ever come out with. But it's the consistency that's key here. And holy crap, 23 points from the defensive player is pretty damn good there. Defense wins classic.
A beast. All that dude is just eats tackles. That's all that dude eats for breakfast, lunch, and dinner is just tackling people.
Carter, did you get to read the power rankings this week?
I did.
Would you agree that he's honestly been your MVP so far?
He honestly could be. He's gotten at least probably 20.
Hold up. I know he scored 20 against me as well. So let's see.
He's
25, 15, and 23. That's good numbers for any position.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's similar numbers last year, which enticed me. He's just very consistent. He just is always in the middle of that defense, and the Colts defense is actually pretty good. So yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing from defense wins championships. So.
Absolutely.
All right, Carter, for this group here, in order for you to get back to the Clancy Bowl, which would be your 4th appearance in 11 years, what do you think this group what do you need to see from this group to get you back there? Because what a title champion looks like.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think a big X factor for me that's played a really key role in my success has been the play of Justin Herbert so far. Only quarterback in the league that hasn't had a turnover. Number 1 quarterback, I believe, in scoring. And, this guy has been awesome for me. There's a lot of other quarterbacks taken before him. So I think, if he can keep the season up, to keep slinging it like that, I think that'll be a key part to getting me back.
On Yom Kippur, too.
Yeah, and I've also been impressed with Evan Ingram as well. He's been getting peppered with targets recently. So obviously the tight end position's kind of up in the air after Kelsey, but I've been liking what I've been seeing from him as well, taking him later in the draft as well. So those are kind of 2 position players that have really surprised and done well for me so far, and I'm loving what I'm seeing. So I think keep that up, and I think this team can go pretty far.
All right, let's
and
real
shout
quick.
out Jimmy Pierce for scoring a touchdown this week. Shout out Damian Pierce.
Who'd you say? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Shout out Damian Pierce. He found the end zone, and that's basically all that guy has to do.
Real quick, let's talk about the shekels just so we don't forget them here. Mahomes 25, McCaffrey 22. A couple decent games around the board. George Kittle with a little bit of sign of life. But as I wrote in the power rankings, man, like Jason built his team around like a core of stars. And then it's kind of, unfortunate after that. With that being said, 138 is not a bad week. But like he needs better from his wide receiver core. DeAndre Hopkins is the 45th ranked receiver so far. Hollywood's the 27th. And, it does feel good in my heart that I was right about this because Jason was like getting mad at us for trashing his receivers on the show, saying he had 2 top 15. I'm like, maybe if you add them together, you have a top 15.
Yeah, no, I agree. It also probably helped that the Chiefs absolutely destroyed the Bears last weekend. So Patrick Mahomes basically sat the second half. That was pretty cool.
Sure, yeah. I don't know. I mean, Jason will get Kamara back, so I don't think that saves your season. I don't think his season necessarily needs to be saved yet. But with that being said, it'll be. I mean, he's better than Gus Edwards, so it'll be a lineup upgrade here.
Yeah, you're shitting on me for like not doing a trade for the Baltimore backfield, and I'm just like, this is what everyone's gonna have 6 points every week because they spread it out so much. Like,
yeah, trust me, I'm sure Cuzzo has had this too, where he's been offered. I'm pretty sure Snyder was even offering me Jason's players at some point. I'm like, I don't want to know what.
I just don't want to deal with that. It's just too much. It's like a 4-headed monster if you include Lamar Jackson as running back. Sometimes to me.
Yeah, they're both wondering why I won't trade Anthony Richardson. I'm like, because Trevor Lawrence sucks this year. That's why. Because like I have 3 quarterbacks now because I don't trust Lawrence and Richardson gets hurt. Like we didn't really talk much about the waiver claims, but I spent on CJ Stroud because I truly thought somebody was going to put in some type of bid for him because he's been pretty good so far. And my logic was I don't trust Lawrence. Richardson is in the concussion protocol, and CJ Stroud has been good. So either way, quarterbacks are at a premium here, and for this matchup here, we had 2 of the best here. So let's move on here. Cardi, you can stick around here. Let's go to, I believe the next game here was Owen over Holbert. Bed Bath and Bijan. Hey, they did not seem to care that Nick Chubb was out. They were able to get a win here. Cuzzo, tell us about this one.
The state pen is in shambles. They got inmates escaping left and right over there because this is a complete disaster coming off of the Clancy Bowl victory from last year. Bed Bath and Bijan getting the first win on the year, 101 points to 85.
No, he's 2-1.
He's 2-1. Okay. Well, getting the second win on the year.
First one,
Leading the way was Deebo Samuel, 25 points. Pretty good game from him. Pedestrian game from Dak, pedestrian quarterback Prescott, and Elijah Moore with 11 points. 10 points from Bijan. I mean, neither team played well, but Holbert's team played horrible. That's the only thing that there really is to say here. I mean, 8 points from your second running back, 4 points from T. Higgins. That's just not going to get it done anywhere in this league. 6 points from Kyle Pitts. No, not going to happen.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on at the state pen.
I will say it might be time to make a quarterback change because Jordan Love has scored 20 in every single game, and Fields has been terrible. Fields is playing the Broncos this week, who are god-awful, so he might start him. But with that being said, like, Jordan Love has done everything he can do to show he deserves that QB1 spot, and I think that, I mean, Holbert's a smart GM, right? He's the reigning Clancy Bowl champ, so he's got to know that it might be time at some point. But with that being said, man, like, I know that Austin Eckler and Christian Watson are both out, but, like, T. Higgins is supposed to be one of your stars, right? Josh Jacobs is supposed to be one of your stars. Don't even get me started on Kyle Pitts. But, like, I don't think this team is going to be this god-awful all year, but your conference is just too good, in my opinion, for him to be a playoff team, especially now that he's 0-3.
Right. He's already in such a hole. It's going to be tough, unless both Drew and I, really fall apart here. It's going to be tough for him to claw his way back into the playoff contention.
Yeah, and I think that, Owen won this game. I'm sure he doesn't feel good about this win, only scoring 100 points. Bijan needs to be better. Starting Kenny Gainwell as your running back too, like, he's slowly losing that job to DeAndre Swift.
I think it's lost at this point.
Yeah. Jalen Waddle will be back, which will help, and David Montgomery. I mean, he's probably. I mean, he's better than Gainwell. So I think that Owen's team. Listen, I still think Chris wins that division. I think Owen's going to be one of those teams that's like frisky. Like he's gonna be a pain in the ass. He plays good fantasy defense, but I see Chris as being the lone playoff team in that division for sure.
I could see that.
Yeah. All right, next up we got myself. This was not the butthole clincher, although it was the closest score. Ari and Hellman's game really came down to the wire with Joe Burrow. Like once Kyren Williams got past my score, it was over in the third quarter. Like that game had a lot more moving parts. So why don't you say what happened, then I'll give my thoughts.
Yeah, so it was Jason Brian Colangelo with the burner account, Knauer and the leg effect taking down the Commish. Really close one, as you said. Only just over a point or two separating the two teams here. Really high scoring game overall. This one was entertaining to follow the entire time here. Keenan Allen with 43 points is just fucking absurd. That's just crazy, and they still almost lost that game, which is crazy. I saw a crazy stat the other day. Since Justin Herbert's been in, San Diego,
we did call it. It shouldn't have even been that close. Kyren kind of almost folded, but continue.
Since Justin Herbert's been in San Diego or LA, he's been on the Chargers. They've scored like the most points in the NFL or something like close to that. And they haven't won a single playoff game, which is just outrageous to me.
Fun fact, I actually live bet the Jaguars at halftime of that game last year when they were down 27-3. Because I said, everybody's going to blow this game. It's going to be the Chargers. And I had people around me making fun of me. They were real quiet once the game ended. And because we were at the bar, I won like $100.
How is that coach still there? How is that coach? I don't get that. But that's beside the point here. Yeah. I'll break it down a little bit more for you.
Keep going.
Commish, you struggled a little bit in your wide receiver too through your flex there. That's kind of what lost you the game here. But 2 40-point scores on the Commish.
This is the most bizarre box score I've ever seen. I don't think we have ever had, or probably will ever have again, a team have 2 40-point scores lose because everybody else was awful. That's why I come out of this game.
That is fucking crazy.
Yeah. I will say that it is refreshing that I didn't lose the game because of a managerial decision, which is a bit refreshing. I lost this game because, I'm not going to put all my players on blast here, but the outside of Mostert and Adams just wasn't good enough. And we this team has star power, right? We scored 148 points without Saquon Barkley in the lineup. It's our first round pick. It's a shame that Mostert and Adams' performance went to waste. I will say that we're going to be making a quarterback change. Regardless of Anthony Richardson's status, we will be making quarterback change. Trevor Lawrence will be on the bench. If Anthony Richardson is in the protocol and does not play this week, CJ Stroud's going to get the nod. I think Trevor just needs to take a deep breath. He's a very talented quarterback. I think the game's moving a little fast for him right now, which has been just an issue that after a strong week 1 with him and Ridley, the last 2 weeks have been not good. And I believe that if Anthony Richardson didn't get hurt, he would have been on a fast track for that starting lineup. I think he's got great star potential, and I want to give him that opportunity. But we're going to leave Calvin Ridley in because they're playing the Falcons, and it's a revenge game, and I believe in the revenge games.
Absolutely. I could see that being a big game there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more. At the end of the day, outside of, Mostert and Adams, we just need better. But I know that the talent's there. Listen, in Delco, I've been around a lot of terrible fantasy teams. 4 Ridley Bowls doesn't happen overnight. But what I do know is that this team is not one of those teams. This team has talent. There's been bad managerial decisions. There's been, combined with some unfortunate performances. But I started 4-1 last year and got the Ridley Bowl. So it's always time to turn things around, right?
Absolutely. Hey, you're not out of it yet.
Yeah, it was 0-5.
Yeah, Carter was 0-5 and made the playoffs. And I believe that was a shorter regular season because that was before the NFL.
I think I ended 7-6.
Yeah. So I feel all right. As good as you can. I will say, though, that if I lose to Hellman this week in interdivision game to go in 0-4, I'd feel pretty down. But
that'd be a tough one. Yeah,
no, that's all I got pretty much. I mean, at the end of the day, the Jacobs team underperformed a little bit too, outside of Keenan Allen. I mean, Josh Allen had a good week. You should just rename this team something with the Allens. But the fact that Tony Pollard and Kyren Williams had not subpar weeks, but just like not dominant weeks, and he's still getting 150. It just shows why he's number one in the power rankings.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to our last matchup here, because this was you. You won a big game against what was the preseason favorite in the conference, according to myself. We had 28 points from Lamar Jackson. He's rebounded well from a rough week one performance. 22 from A.J. Brown. First time he's really looked like the A.J. Brown who almost had 1,500 yards last year. Because I'm curious to see your thoughts. When your team scores 130, but Derrick Henry just hasn't gotten it going like that yet.
Yeah, he had a decent game last week. I'm not too concerned about the running backs when Rachaad White was going up against that monstrous Eagles defense. Mike Evans still had a good game for me. I'm really concerned. I'm really happy with my wide receiver situation right now, especially with Jacoby Myers coming back and having a solid game for me in the flex. TJ Edwards has continued to be a bright spot for me after I decided to put him in there. He's just a tackle machine, and he's going to be great wherever he goes. My biggest concern right now is Mark Andrews. I'm not going to lie to you. I have not been able to really get any type of production out of him yet, and that's going to be a problem if that continues. But we'll see how it goes, and I'm just glad we got to win here. We're moving on to the IRS.
Yeah. No, that's going to be a big game coming up, and that's our game of the week. And now, usually sometimes we have the interviews right in the middle, but now we got Dr. Z joining us here. We'll talk about the Neanderthals real quick here. 28 from Tua, 20 from his kicker, Evan McPherson. But outside of that, the running back core concerns me. Ramondre just hasn't really lived up to his draft value yet. He's had 14, 15, and 7, nothing like what he was on the Zoidberg Zoo last year, of course. Miles Sanders, same thing, just, kind of just a little mid. 17 points is okay. But the real story here is that, he'll be getting Cooper Kupp back soon, but 10 from CeeDee Lamb and 6 from Devontae Smith. Like, he built his team around that wide receiver core. Just not good enough right now.
Yeah, this was a really close one, too. And if you think about it, if they counted that touchdown from Tutu Atwell, where it really didn't look like he stepped out to me. It was close, but I think that probably should have been called a touchdown. Chris walks away from this game with a 1-point win or 1+ point win, and we have a whole different conversation right now. But overall, I'm happy to get the win. Glad to get it over a really good North Philly team. So we're ready to move on to the IRS.
Well, as foreshadowed here, this is the game of the week, game of the year so far. The only 3-0 teams left. Talk about how you're feeling and who you're looking for to have a good game.
Listen, I need Mark Andrews to explode this week. I need him to start getting the production that we need out of him. That's going to be my key to the game, that Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson connection. Because if I can even get I'm hoping for 50 out of both of them. That's, combined 50. Yeah. Sorry. But combined 50, I think, would be really great and then set me up for a win this week.
Yeah. All right. For your squad, I'm going to look at Rachaad White because Rachaad White has been getting a lot of volume. But like you said, going against the Eagles is a tough scene. But, he's gotten 17 carries, 17 and 14. He's gotten 10 receptions already. They're playing the Saints this week. I'm looking for him to kind of take over that, not even running back one role because Derrick Henry still exists. But I think that, he can step up and really be a strong running back too. All right, Carter, what are you thinking here from the Bureau?
Yeah, I think the Bureau's got a good shot this week. This is obviously the game of the week for a reason. Like you said, I think if that Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson connection really gets going, that'll be big. I do like this matchup a lot. I think it'll be intriguing to see. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
All right, Cuz, talk about the IRS. Who are you worried about here?
Human joystick, Tyreek Hill. Absolutely. That connection with him and Tua has been really great all year, and that's obviously what we're going to have to cover. Just going to hope to keep everything in front of us and stick to our tackles. We're ready for the IRS here.
I just realized that we have a bold, not even necessarily a bold decision, but an interesting one. Drew is starting 2 tight ends this week.
Interesting.
Right here, he's got TJ Hockenson in the tight end and then Sam Laporta on Thursday night because he has the number 1 and 2 tight ends in the league right now. Sam Laporta had 11 targets and 22 points last game. He will be playing Thursday night against the Packers at Lambeau. So it seems, unless Drew changes something by this time tomorrow, we're rolling 2 tight ends, which is not unheard of, but it's rare.
Definitely rare, but this is a Clancy Bowl winning GM, and I wouldn't put it past him to make the right decision for his team to win.
Yeah, Jacob noticed it. Sorry, Jacob, I just saw your comment. We also got another one. Was such a crazy pull. I had never heard of this guy in my life before, so good for Drew picking that out. He did say you want to get linebackers on mid teams, so he kind of did there, getting someone from Buffalo to just eat up tackles. I think that this game has a lot of potential. Jerome Ford is currently questionable. Let's see. Looks like right now he had a shoulder injury, limited in practice. I would say shoulder's probably not too much of a concern at the end of the day. But, man, I need to take a deeper look here. But I'm leaning – I mean, the IRS – and this isn't even a knock on you. The IRS has just been so consistent so far this season that I think it would be silly for me to pick against them. So I'm going to go with the IRS. Carter, I know that Elias is going to pick his squad here. What are you thinking?
Yeah. I just see Drew's team, and it just looks like a gauntlet. Like, obviously, I think Elias' team will put up a great fight. This will be a high-scoring game, no doubt. There will be a lot of points scored. But, yeah, I'll probably have to give the slight edge to the IRS.
Right, we're confident in our squad, and we're confident we're going to come out of this week with a win.
All right. Next up on the slate, I believe it is my game here. So we got a big ACC matchup here. I'm not going to say this is a season ender for me, but there's a big difference between being 1-3 when Hellman would be 2-2 or 0-4 with Hellman at 3-1, right? It would be tough to be 3 games back already at this time of the year. I'll talk about my squad here. Like I mentioned, Anthony Richardson is going to be the starter. If healthy, if not, CJ Stroud will get the nod. I want to see how Raheem Mostert bounces back, man, because that was a incredible performance. And I know that he's not going to score 40 every week, but if he can just give me 20-something, that would be great. And my running backs are going against each other. So James Cook and Raheem Mostert. Let's get a nice, just grounded out, old school football game. Maybe I want to see these guys get some dump offs, get some PPR points. But in reality, I need to have some more clarity on who my quarterback is, and I need to to get some wide receivers. I went into the season thinking that my wide receiver core was going to be the strength of this team, and all of a sudden it's my running backs, which I really didn't see coming. But Devontae Adams is the only true I can lock him in at receiver, because Nico Collins had 5 last week. Jerry Jeudy has Russell Wilson and hasn't really been that impressive. And then, after a huge week 1, Calvin Ridley has had 2 bad back-to-back weeks. So I'm going to start Ridley because he's playing the Falcons and revenge game. The flex is either going to be Nico Collins, Jerry Jeudy, or if cleared, which I don't expect, Saquon Barkley. But I feel good. I think this is going to be a win. I've outscored Hellman every week, so I think that I truly have the better roster. It's just about putting it all together. And I would say for my team, who I'm looking forward to having a big game, I'm just going to say my Calvin Ridley bet against the Falcons. I don't know if they ended on terrible terms, but I know he got suspended at some point. So I'm going to say he comes out pissed off in London, where the Jags are always good.
Yeah, I like Calvin Ridley revenge game. And despite what you think, I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to straighten it up. Not despite what you think. I just think that Trevor Lawrence is going to have a pretty good game this weekend. And you kind of get the ball to Calvin Ridley a bunch in London, the big show internationally. I like him for a revenge game. As far as the Copperheads go, Hellman wants to keep this. He has some momentum here. He wants to keep it going. And I think he's going to be looking to Chris Godwin as well as Travis Kelce, as always, to secure a big win for him. But this is a pretty big matchup for you, Commish. I have to say, I'm probably going to lean with the Devils this week. Pretty intrigued.
Carter, what do you got?
Yeah, 2 division rivals, big matchup for sure for the big ACC. I don't know if I've ever seen a player projected 24.5 points, but I totally think that Devontae Adams is going to eat this week. The Chargers defense is just absolutely atrocious.
Where do you see that? Do you have it up
I'm
on your
looking on the app?
He's projected 24.5.
Yeah.
Jesus.
The Chargers second,
Holy
I mean,
crap.
Kirk Cousins just threw all over him.
I was going to say he
Justin
did
Jefferson
have
ate, so, I think that's definitely a player to watch for in Brennan's team. He's going to have a day.
Yeah, I mean, he did have 42 points, and now they're playing the worst defense in the league.
Yeah, so I think that'll just continue. For Hellman, Zach Moss has been a nice surprise, like has been talked about. So I think he should have a good game. And Jalen Hurts, I think he'll just continue his excellence. I think he'll just continue to get better and better each week as the offense continues to gel. So I think it'll be a good matchup, but I think this is the week Brennan gets off the schneid, gets that first win, gets some confidence back in the squad, and gets back on track. So.
And that would probably be to your benefit too, if Hellman loses, and then you can go a little there. So. I won't say season is coming down to this, but I will feel so much better at 1-3.
Yeah.
0-4. For Hellman's team, I would say honestly, I'm concerned about Jordan Addison because that guy, he could have like 3 points and then out of nowhere he just pulls in like a 60-yard touchdown out of nowhere. And yeah, exactly. So I would say that's the biggest concern. I mean, Travis Kelce has the whole, not even the NFL world, the whole world on it. You know how many Swifties are going to be rooting for him this week? I don't know if Taylor's going to be at this game. I would say if Taylor is, then he's going to score at least one touchdown just because they're going to like force it to him. But I'm hoping the Jets defense
into the blank space.
Yeah, right into the blank space. The Jets have a good defense though. I'm hoping just keep them under like 20 points, and I think my team should come out on top.
All right,
let's go to the next matchup here. We got the North Philly Neanderthals and the State Penn Jailbirds, two former Clancy Bowl champions here. Let's start off here. So as of right now, Jordan Love is in the starting lineup. He'll be taking on the Lions on Thursday night. Was wondering if if Holbert was going to leave Justin Fields in just because of how bad the Broncos have been. Looks like Austin Eckler is questionable for this week. They said they're hopeful he's able to stay up. If healthy, he's playing the Raiders, so that could be a good option there. This is a good matchup here. And what do you think? Is Burke going to get the win number 1 on the year?
No, I like the Neanderthals in this one, Commish. I like him to get back to 500 here. I'm not seeing much life with this Jailbirds team, and I think this could be the early nail in the coffin here.
Interesting from the North Philly Neanderthal side, Ramondre Stevenson has been benched in favor of Isaiah Pacheco. Interesting. It looks like he's completely healthy. Tutu Atwell staying in the flex for Chris.
That's
what do you think of that?
Bold move, Cotton.
You think that he's bailing a little too early?
I think so. But who am I to judge?
Hey, he's one I haven't, so I'll defer to him. But I mean, when you're looking at Chris's team, I mean, if the NFL season ended today, your NFL MVP is Tua Tagovailoa. I don't really think that's much of a debate. And he's been by far, just the best overall in terms of yards, production, play. I mean, he had 28 points last week in that game. Man, you look at the team, man. I think this game is going to be closer than most would think. I'm going to take Chris, but I think Holbert kind of like he feels better about his team after this game, but I think he still ends up in the loss column. Carter, what do you got?
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. I think Lee's got a bunch of question marks for sure, with Jordan Love, Austin Eckler, his status. He's starting Jake Ferguson, who sounds like a State Farm agent. So definitely an interesting lineup for sure. I think Chris probably has the edge in this matchup. I think, like I said, his Tua has been amazing. I think his receivers bounce back on track. So I think Chris will end up winning this game. So.
All righty then, Carter, it's your time now. We got, it was a tough decision for game of the week because you guys have both been awesome as well. We got the 2-1 Zoidberg Zoo, 2-1 Bison City Lake effect in the first matchup. Now, it's funny because you won that game because Justin Herbert took a knee, and now Justin Herbert has joined the dark side. He's left because, it's starting to look like Justin Herbert was a secret agent and lost that game on purpose because he knew he was joining the Zoo. Carter, thoughts?
I cannot confirm or deny, but all we know is that he's on the good side and he's putting up numbers that we are enjoying. So I'm definitely excited for this matchup, and hopefully we can pull out the dub.
All right, Carter, give us the inside scoop here. Is Brandon Ayuk playing this week?
I think he is. I think he's honestly more healthy than Debo at this point. Debo's had a rib injury the last game. He's been limited, but I think it's trending in the right direction for Ayuk. Obviously, with Williams going out, my depth took a little bit of a hit, but I think Ayuk will be good enough to play this week.
Cuzzo, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a good matchup. I am leaning Lake Effect here. I'm sorry to say that, Dr. Z. Two pretty good teams going at it, though. This is definitely going to have carry playoff implications as we move on down here. But who is Tank Dell?
That is, he had a great week last week. He's had 25 and 20 in back-to-back weeks. And you know what? Now that I see
Guy
how
sounds like a tank.
Yeah, I'm gonna go live on the air here and actually switch out Nico Collins for Jerry Jeudy because I seriously, like, you know, I knew that he's been oh, here we go. Justin Herbert is afraid to set foot in Bison City. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, he knows that the fan base is not going to be happy. Go there. Yeah,
sure.
Maybe I'll just.
As long as Justin Herbert is more passing touchdowns than Keenan Allen, I'll be fine.
Yeah. Dude, I lost that game because Keenan Allen's passing touchdown.
What?
Yeah, but I will say, because I do have to break away here, gents. I got some stuff to take care of for rugby, but I will say I do have the leg effect here with a Diggs-Allen combination leading the way. But look out for the Zoo, though. This is definitely a winnable matchup for you, Carter. Justin Herbert just has the ability to drop 45 points on any given Sunday. So if that happens, then hey, not only if that happens, but this could be a good one to watch. And hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for the time. And the Commish is going to take you all the rest of the way. So for Ryan Elias, this was Cuzzo and the Commish, only my part of it. But we'll talk to you guys later, all right?
Yep, sounds good. Talk to you.
Take care, guys.
All right, now you are now at Carter and the Commish, presented by the Delco Media Group. Yeah, Carter, I mean, I think this is going to be a good matchup. I'm going to go Jacob here. I think that your team had an incredible week last week. We'll see how they replicate, but I mean, I'm expecting a high-scoring matchup, and I think that the reason I'm picking them is because Jacob scored 150 with his running backs having weeks, and I think Keenan Allen is going to get maybe 30 targets after he had 20 last week. But no, I think it's going to be a good game. We'll see what happens. We only have, I believe, 2 more matchups. So let's talk about as Ari mentioned, the Jew-on-Jew matchup here. We got the Collegeville Cashville Kings and the Schenectady Shekels. Looks like Ari's going to be making some switches. A.J. Dillon on the bench. He's got James Conner in. Logan Thomas is questionable. No shit. I'm surprised he ever even stepped foot on the field this year. And as someone who's injury prone, I can say that. Aaron Jones also questionable. Ari said that A.J. Dillon's going to be hitting the bench for a couple of weeks, so it looks like if Aaron Jones is out, I would guess he goes George Pickens or Tyler Lockett. Not sure which direction he would go there, but either way, talk about Jason has benched DeAndre Hopkins. He's put Cortland Sutton in, who's been pretty solid so far, double digits in every game. He's got Alvin Kamara in the flex. And now that Jamal Williams is out, that seems like he's going to have a lot of volume there. Ooh, what do you make of this game?
This is definitely be an interesting game. You know, there's a lot of question marks on Ari's team right now in terms of health, so it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. But, you know, I think it's the right move taking Hopkins out. Obviously, Hopkins can make a great catch at any point, but he's, on that Tennessee offense is just kind of rough. And Cortland Sutton's been doing pretty well, even though the Broncos have also been terrible. Yeah. So I think that was probably a good call. Obviously, with Kamara coming back, that could be big. It'll be interesting to see, what kind of game shape he's in. Obviously, he hasn't played in a game for a little bit, so we'll see how he is in his first game back. But, I think this will be a really tough game, close game, grind it out. Probably leaning a little bit towards the Shekels, but honestly, I think the Cashville Kings have a lot of weapons as well. So I really think this is a toss-up and could honestly be the clincher of the week for next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a bit of a cop out here. I'm gonna say Ari if Aaron Jones plays, and then Jason if not. And I know it's a bit of a cop out, but I mean Aaron Jones, he had in his only game of the year so far, he had 26 points. So I think that he's that big of a difference maker, and him playing on Thursday really sets the tone for the week here. All right, last but not least, we got. Did I write that down wrong, or are they playing each other? I think I wrote that down wrong. It's I had Bed Bath & Beyond Bijan against the the Jailbirds, or that's not the case. They are playing the Sun in a game. It's basically the same exact concept as Hellman in my game. It's a 2-1 team against an 0-3 team. It's pretty much Snyder's last chance of staying in this division race. I mean, I'm in the same boat as him. He's starting someone named Luke Musgrave at tight end. He had 10 points last week, which in this tight end economy is pretty impressive. So trying to get some new life there. Brees Hall is questionable. That game's on Sunday night, so you might have to get creative there. I don't like. It's funny how actually Snyder's team's projected to win, but I'm going to take Owen here just because I don't trust Snyder's team at all.
Yeah, I mean, they've given you no reason to trust it. So, I mean, I honestly probably would go the same way. Just projecting a low-scoring game, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But I think Owen obviously starting Kenny Gainwell is a tough look, and his depth. Yeah, it's just a tough RB2 situation. But I think the surrounding pieces of Owen's team are just a little bit better than what the Sun is putting out there. So I'll take the Bed Bath and Beyond.
All right, you ready for a scorching hot take?
Let's hear
it. This is an absurd take. All right. Either you or Jacob will score more points than both of these teams combined this week. That's my score.
That would be nuts.
I'm going to say that one of them scores in like the 80s, one in the 90s, while one of you guys is back in like 170s, 180s. That's my bold take.
That like that.
Yeah, you got to go hot sometimes.
Gotta go.
Yeah. I would say we're 1 week away from getting a full standings check, just because at this point, there's not too much to go about. But we'll pull it up real quick and just do, if the playoffs ended today, the IRS would be getting the bye week while Chris and Cuzzo took on each other. Meanwhile, if we're going off points, I believe the Lake Effect would get the bye week while the Zoidberg Zoo would take on the Cash Flow King. So a lot of fantasy football to be played. But with that being said, that brings an end to our program for this week. Carter, thank you so much for taking the time to join. Would love to see you back on the show later in the season to talk some shop. But for right now, that's all we got for this program. Carter, any last words? Anything you'd like to get off your chest?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's always an honor to get the call. It's always, whenever you get added to that group chat, it's a thrill. You know you've done something well that week. So, it's always something to look forward to. I hope the team can keep it consistent. Jacob, good luck this week, but you're going down. So the Zoo is back, and we're ready for big things this year. So, we're like the Phillies of this year, Didn't win it all in the championship, but we got intentions, and we're ready to keep it going. So
sounds like the Penn State Baseball Club right there. It's all written in the stars. It is it's the prophecy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I'll pull out Cuzzo's for myself, Ryan Cuzzo Elias, for Brendan, the Commish Ricciardi, and for Dr. Z. Carter Kraus. This is Cuzzo and the Commish. We'll see you next time. And